Hi, this is Trust and Neil with Call to Learn Conference, and we're here with Chirstopher Hurtado, and I'm excited to be able to learn from you. I've always been impressed with your knowledge and things. So today, why don't you tell us about yourself first?
Okay. My name is Chirstopher Hurtado. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland originally. That's my hometown. I grew up in Venezuela. I was only in Baltimore until I was 8.
Mm-hmm.
From 8 to 16, I was in Venezuela. I mostly attended private schools, Catholic, Lutheran private schools. I did some public schooling in Venezuela. That didn't last very long.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back to the United States at age 16, dropped out of high school in the 12th grade, lacking 2.5 credits to graduate when I couldn't conform anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always really been self-educated. I've always been an avid reader.
Mm-hmm.
I was never interested in reading what was assigned to me to read. I've always been interested in reading what I want to read.
Yeah.
And so that hasn't really changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in Venezuela?
I loved growing up in Venezuela. One of the things that I really liked about Venezuela was spending time hiking alone in the tropical rainforest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I would tell my
amazing.
Mom, I'm going hiking,
Mm-hmm.
and she would say, okay, and she had no idea where I was.
Wow.
I just took off into the tropical rainforest.
Did you ever get lost?
No, I followed riverbeds.
Oh, okay.
Because, tropical rainforests they're really thick, right? You have to have a machete to get through
How do you
otherwise.
get through? Yeah.
So I really would walk through or walk along a riverbed. I would walk
Okay.
sometimes in the river. I had my Frasani boots. They're Italian. They look like combat boots, only they're not black. And I was ready to be bit by a snake. I had my snake bite kit. I had my knowledge. I was prepared.
Wow.
I didn't really want to get bit by a snake,
But you were prepared if you did.
But I wanted to prove to myself that I knew what to do. That was kind of who I was.
So it was a dare.
So I prepared to. Now I wasn't prepared for jaguars, but I never ran into one, fortunately.
Yeah, that's great. What a unique story. That's pretty cool that you get to do that.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So tell us, how did you meet your wife and start homeschooling?
I met my wife at church. It's a great place to meet a wife, actually.
Yes.
I was visiting her ward. Somebody actually invited me. I was actually being set up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was actually being set up. Someone thought that the two of us should meet and invited me. It was a break the fast at my wife's singles ward.
Okay.
And we didn't bring anything, so we waited until last in line to see if anything was left, potluck.
Yeah.
And then my friend who had invited me left me no place at the table but next to my wife. And I thought, how rude, she invited me to this break the fast, and then she doesn't even sit by me.
Yeah.
And she wanted to make sure that I ended up sitting by my wife, and I did, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So you said you went to Lutheran schools. Were you in LDS as a child?
No, I grew up Lutheran.
You grew up Lutheran,
I became converted at age 11 in Venezuela.
Oh, really?
I grew up.
Tell us that story.
Well, I grew up Lutheran, again, going to Lutheran Catholic schools, and I have to tell you, as a philosopher, as a theologian, if you will, in the Mormon tradition, I had a hard time identifying or relating to a God that was everywhere and nowhere and everything and nothing. How do you have a relationship with that?
Yeah,
I had a hard time with that. So the Mormon God made a lot of sense to me, but I converted at 11. It was really, the missionaries came to our house. We actually had a neighbor. He was a 14-year-old, I think. He was not active in the church, but he felt impressed to tell my mom that she should go to his church because there are a lot of Americans there. You'll like it there. We were driving about an hour away to another city. Just leave the city, through the country to another city to go to Lutheran church.
Wow.
And we weren't actually always going.
Yeah.
So he said, you should go to my church. There are a lot of Americans there. You'll like it there. We went, sure enough, a lot of expats, missionaries and whatnot. And the missionaries came to our house, and we all thought that was interesting. We had some Americans at our house, and even my dad was, we all sat down at the table. Once they started sharing the gospel, my dad left the table. One of the greatest gifts my mother ever gave me was a place at that table. That she would allow the missionaries to teach us, that she would listen. Her experience, my mother, here they are, Joseph Smith, angels, right. She thought, well, what if That's the question she asked that made all the difference in
wow.
our lives.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's true?
Yeah.
And a point of conversion for her, speaking of Lutheranism, was that she read about infant baptism in the Book of Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
She remembered when I was baptized, the priest, holds you as an infant and says, "This child having been born in sin," and etc. And my mom said, "I wanted to take you and run away. This is not true," she thought. But that's what you do. So as a good Lutheran woman, she just stood there and took it, right? But something told her that's not true. So that was actually a point of conversion for both of us, for my mother and I. It's the Book of Mormon, the fruit of the prophet Joseph Smith, that tells us that he's a prophet. Right? And that was our point of conversion.
Wow. And so the both of you got baptized?
We all, my two sisters and my mother and I, all got baptized on the same night.
Okay.
I remember it like it was last night.
Wow.
It was a beautiful night.
I bet. And was it in a church house or was?
It was in a church house in Las Delicias in Maracay, Venezuela.
Very
I remember
amazing.
we have they're like Persian blinds, but they're just glass, The windows are open, the breeze is coming in, a little bit chilly when you're wet.
Yeah.
Receive the gift of the Holy Ghost the same night. That's how we did it, right?
Yeah.
And friends and family, and it's such a peaceful feeling.
Wow.
I do wish I had made notes. I always tell any youth getting baptized, write down your impressions of this day, that you won't remember everything, right? But I do remember what I do remember very clearly.
Yeah.
I wish I had more.
Right. Yeah. Well, you've learned it to teach us and to teach other people to write. Yeah, that's good. So you've met your wife. Tell us how you got involved in homeschooling.
When our son was old enough to go to kindergarten, my son is a lot like me. He was, he's shy. He was already reading at a 4th grade level by kindergarten age.
Oh, wow.
When I went to school, my father was going to college, and my mother was working. And so my mother would take me to school. I had to go to school. I did not want to go to school. It was a trauma for me. Every day crying all the way to school. And I don't even know why I bothered, because half the time I was with counselors and big brothers on the playground that they would take me out of class and take me to the playground because I was having these issues with going to school. And I saw my son, I saw myself in him, and I thought, he can't go through this. I asked my wife, please don't send him to school. You have to homeschool him.
Yeah.
And she agreed to it reluctantly, and she did not plan on doing this for all of our kids, and we've been homeschooling all of our kids ever since. And I'm glad for that.
So it was through your son, then, basically, that you made that decision?
Through our son,
Yeah, well, that's cool.
My oldest.
Well, I'm glad you are a homeschooler.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm glad you are. That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your story, and we look forward to hearing your presentation. Will you want to tell us a little bit about what you're going to teach?
Yeah, actually, the idea of homeschooling, that there's something I'd like to say about that.
Okay.
I think many parents, you might actually bring school home. My wife actually taught 4th grade bilingual, and so our son never went to school, but school was now at home, and we call it homeschooling.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of homeschooling. I like the idea of home educating. Right? So I won the battle to keep my son from going to school, and now I had to kick school out of my house, right? Because we're used to following a curriculum.
We are.
And I was looking for more of a liberal arts education.
Well, like you were used to, just loving to read.
Right. I've come to understand better what that means, and that's what I'd like to share.
Okay.
To subscribe to our YouTube channel, click here. To choose from our gifts and request updates on our most popular topics, visit calledtolearn.com. For more videos like this one, click this playlist. For Table Talk discussions, choose this playlist.